Lionel Messi's childhood was not just a story of dazzling talent on the football pitch. It was a story of constant struggle against crushing reality, filled with heartbreak, fear, and a loneliness that few could understand. It was a story of a child forced to grow up too fast under the weight of destiny, fighting every single day just to keep his dream alive. Chapter 1. A Giant Dream in a Dwarf's Body. On June 24, 1987, Lionel Messi was born into a working-class family in Rosario, Argentina. His father, Jorge, worked in a steel factory and his mother, Celia, worked in a magnet manufacturing plant. The family was not rich, but they were filled with an immense love for football. From the age of 2 or 3, Messi showed an obsessive passion for the game. At 5, he joined the local club Grandoli where his father coached him. Soon after, he joined the youth team of Newell's Old Boys, one of Argentina's top clubs. On the pitch, Messi was a blazing genius, dribbling past older kids as if they weren't there. But in everyday life, there was a shadow that followed him everywhere. He was incredibly small. At first, his family thought he was just a late bloomer. But as Messi approached the age of 10, his parents noticed a terrifying pattern. He had almost stopped growing. He was noticeably shorter than every single boy in his class, a giant in talent trapped in a dwarf's body. Chapter 2. The Verdict at 11, a Thunderbolt from the Sky. At the age of 11, a diagnosis arrived that shattered the family's world. Messi was diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency, GHD. Without medical intervention, he would not grow past 1.4 meters, 4 feet 7 inches, tall. This disease meant 2 terrifying things. First, it meant his dream of becoming a professional footballer, a dream that consumed his every waking moment, could be over before it truly began. Second, it meant his entire childhood was about to be transformed into a daily nightmare of needles and pain. There was only one treatment: daily injections of growth hormone injected into his legs and other parts of his body every single night. For a young child, this was a form of daily torture. Messi later admitted that he didn't want to do it. At first, his parents helped him. But soon, at just 12 years old, he had to learn to hold the syringe, look at his own trembling skin, and push the needle in by himself. The physical pain was immense, but the psychological weight of having to do it alone, night after night, was an unimaginable burden for a child to carry. Chapter 3. The $1,500 Life Tax. The physical torment was only half the trauma. The other half was the crushing economic weight. The treatment was staggeringly expensive, costing up to $900 to $1,500 per month. For a working-class family in Argentina, this was an astronomical sum. It was more than the family's combined income. His father, Jorge, worked tirelessly, but the debts piled up. They were drowning. Messi's father had insurance through his job, but the coverage quickly ran out. The family was pushed to the brink of bankruptcy. To make matters worse, the football world showed its ugly side. His club, Newell's Old Boys, refused to pay for the treatment. River Plate, Argentina's biggest club, showed interest in his talent, but they demanded that the Messi family handle all the logistics and costs themselves. They offered no help, no lifeline. Father and son traveled from door to door, from club to club, begging for help. They were met with indifference and rejection. Jorge was heartbroken and helpless. Young Leo, watching his father's desperation, carried a silence that was heavier than any child should bear. He understood even then that his family simply did not have the money to save him. Years later, his father recalled, "I remember the day we got the diagnosis and I will never forget it. It was freezing cold. We were on the street. Leo had no expression on his face, just an unnatural calm. I knew he understood even then that we could not afford the treatment on our own." Chapter 4. Losing the Son, the Passing of Grandmother Celia. During this period of unimaginable darkness, Messi suffered a loss that broke something deep inside him. His beloved grandmother, Celia, passed away. Celia was the first person who truly believed in him. She was the one who pushed for him to play for Grandoli when the coach was hesitant. She was his #1 fan, his cheerleader, his guardian angel. Her faith in him was absolute, and her love gave him wings. When Messi was 11, the same year he was diagnosed with his illness, his grandmother died. Losing her at the exact moment he needed her most was a devastating blow. It was a double trauma. He was diagnosed with a potentially career-ending disease, and he lost the person who was his strongest pillar of emotional support. To this day, every time Messi scores a goal, he points both his fingers to the sky. In that brief moment, he looks up to the heavens. That gesture is his silent conversation with his grandmother. It is a message of love, a desperate act of remembering, and a gesture filled with profound, unhealed grief. He is telling her, "This one is for you, abuela." Chapter 5. The Lonely Foreigner in Barcelona, the 13-year-old exile. At age 13, desperate and with no other options, Messi and his father packed their bags and flew across the Atlantic to Barcelona, Spain for a trial. At La Masia, Barcelona's famous youth academy, his raw talent stunned everyone. However, his height, and the astronomical cost of his treatment, made the club hesitate. Just as father and son were preparing to return home in defeat, Barcelona's technical director, Carles Rexach, made a decision that would change history. In a desperate move to keep Messi, Rexach scribbled a contract on a paper napkin, promising to pay for Messi's entire medical treatment. That napkin saved his life and changed the course of football history. But the relief of the contract was followed by another unbearable pain. Messi and his father stayed in Barcelona, but his mother and siblings returned to Argentina. For a 13-year-old boy, this was yet another amputation of his childhood. He was in a foreign country. He didn't speak the language. He had no friends. He had only his father. Journalist Guillem Balag, in his biography of Messi, revealed a heartbreaking truth about those early days in Barcelona. Messi would often cry on the weekends. He would lock himself in his room, hide his face under a pillow, and weep silently. He wasn't crying because of the needles or the pressure. He was crying because he missed his mother. He missed his brothers and sisters. He was just a lonely, terrified child who desperately wanted to go home. The boy who was a god on the pitch was, in those quiet moments, just a heartbroken little boy, smothering his sobs so his father wouldn't hear him. Conclusion: the scars that made a legend. This is the untold trauma of Lionel Messi's childhood. It is a story of a body that betrayed him, an economy that crushed his family, a football world that rejected him, the death of his guardian angel, and a loneliness that followed him to a foreign continent. Messi's story is so moving not just because he became the greatest footballer of all time, but because he dragged himself out of the depths of hell to do it. He didn't just face his rivals. He faced death, poverty, and abandonment, and he won. He once said, "I trained day and night 17 years and 114 days to become an overnight success." Every needle he endured, every tear he hid under his pillow, every silent prayer he sent to his grandmother in the sky, it all shaped the man who would lift the World Cup and inspire billions. He is not just a footballer. He is a survivor. And his childhood trauma is the foundation upon which his legendary spirit was built. On the football pitch, Lionel Messi is the king worshipped by millions. But in his personal life, he has spent his entire lifetime loving just one person, Antonella Roccuzzo. This love story, which began when he was just 5 years old, has spanned over 30 years and continues to this day. Chapter 1. First glimpse, the girl who made the flea stop in his tracks. There are two versions of how Messi and Antonella first met. One says they met when they were both 5 years old. Another, more widely told version, places their meeting in 1996. That year, 9-year-old Messi was just an ordinary boy from Rosario, Argentina, spending his days playing football with friends. At Newell's Old Boys Youth Camp, he became friends with a boy named Lucas Scalia. Lucas was Antonella's cousin. One day, Messi went to Lucas's house and met his cousin Antonella for the first time. In that moment, the boy who would later conquer the football world felt frozen. He asked Lucas, "Who is she?" That was the first time he saw her. He was 9 years old. She was 8. Chapter 2. The Love Letter at 12. One day we will be boyfriend and girlfriend. Among their circle of friends, Messi was nicknamed the Flea, and Antonella was called the Black One. Though shy and introverted, Messi's feelings for Antonella were unusually strong. From that young age, he had already decided in his little heart that the girl he called Anton would one day be his bride. At 12 years old, Messi did something extraordinary. He put down the football that was always glued to his left foot, even at home, sat at his desk and wrote a love letter. At the end of that letter, he made the most sincere promise: "One day we will be boyfriend and girlfriend." However, girls' hearts are harder to read. Antonella didn't immediately return his feelings. She was only willing to be friends with him. The boy fell in love first, and the boy had to work hard to win her over. That was how their story began. Chapter 3. Separation, from Rosario to Barcelona. In 2000, fate pulled them apart. Messi moved with his father to Barcelona, joining La Masia, the famous youth academy of FC Barcelona. Antonella stayed in Argentina, continuing her studies like any ordinary middle-class girl. Across thousands of miles, their childhood connection gradually faded. Antonella dated a neighbor for 3 years, but that relationship eventually ended. Yet fate seemed unwilling to let their story finish there. Chapter 4. Reunion, a tragedy that brought them back together. In 2005, a tragedy changed the course of their lives. Antonella's very close best friend died in a tragic traffic accident. She was devastated, unable to attend school for days. At the time, 18-year-old Messi happened to be in Argentina on holiday. When he heard the news, he immediately flew back to Antonella's side, comforting her through her darkest days. During that time, the two rekindled the feelings they had shared as children. Their friends joked behind their backs. At least her ex-boyfriend can take comfort in knowing she didn't leave him for just anyone. She left him for Messi. In July 2007, Antonella's friends noticed her using a BlackBerry phone gifted by Messi while celebrating Friendship Day. Without revealing more details, they all understood. The two had started dating again. That year Messi was 20 years old. Antonella was 19. Chapter 5. Going Public, a confession that shocked the world. In January 2009, during an interview with Catalan Television, Messi was asked a direct question. The 21-year-old Barcelona star shyly replied, "Yes, I have a girlfriend. She is in Argentina." With those words, hearts of countless admirers shattered, and the paparazzi were caught off guard. It was the first time Antonella was officially brought into the public eye. In March of that same year, Argentine magazine Gente published a cover photo of the couple walking together on the streets of Barcelona, making their relationship public. In 2010, Antonella completed her studies at the National University of Rosario and officially moved to Barcelona to live with Messi. The home of the Ballon d'Or winner finally had a mistress. Chapter 6. Family, from lovers to parents. In June 2012, during a World Cup qualifying match, Messi scored a goal and then stuffed the ball under his shirt, mimicking a pregnant woman. He was telling the world, Antonella was pregnant. On November 2, 2012, their first son, Thiago, was born. Messi announced the happy news on his Facebook page. It wasn't just about carrying on a great family name, it meant that this beautiful love story had finally borne fruit. Messi later reflected, "Thanks to Thiago, he changed me as a person." On September 11, 2015, their second son, Mateo, was born. Chapter 7. The Proposal, a natural next step. After having 2 children, Messi knew it was time to make their relationship official. In a podcast interview, Messi shared rare details about his proposal. It happened at a hotel in Barcelona, during a quiet evening together. He proposed to her. He recalled that it wasn't a sudden decision. "We had already been together for many years and already had Thiago and Mateo. We went out to dinner and stayed at a hotel in Barcelona. That's where I proposed. But it was more like something that was already known. It was just a matter of following through. It was just done in a romantic way. It wasn't like a sudden, oh, let's get married moment." Chapter 8. The Wedding, a promise in their hometown. On June 30, 2017, on the eve of Messi's 30th birthday, the couple held a grand wedding in their shared hometown of Rosario, Argentina. The media called it the wedding of the century. Football's elite gathered to celebrate. But for Messi and Antonella, it was more like a private, intimate ceremony that brought them back to where it all began. The wedding took place in the place where everything started. On March 2018, their third son, Ciro, was born. Their family of 5 was now complete. Epilogue, a lifetime of loving just one person. Messi and Antonella's love story spans over 30 years. From the streets of Rosario to the stadiums of Barcelona, from the pain of long-distance relationships to the warmth of family, they have always held each other's hands. In the world of football, Messi has won every honor imaginable. The World Cup, the Copa America, the Champions League, multiple Ballon d'Or awards. But when asked what brings him the most happiness after all his success, his answer was simple. "The truth is, I have everything. I have 3 children and an amazing wife. I get to do what I love every single day." Antonella is Messi's guarantee of 0 scandals. In a world full of temptations, he has always loved only one person, the girl who made him freeze at 9 years old. People often wonder, what kind of woman could capture Messi's heart for a lifetime? Perhaps the answer is simple. She watched him go from having nothing to having everything. She never left when things were hardest. She stayed by his side when he was at his peak. And that, in itself, is the greatest love story. She is my everything. Lionel Messi. Chapter 1. The boy who had to prove himself. From the very beginning, Lionel Messi's career was defined by defying expectations. The boy from Rosario, diagnosed with growth hormone deficiency at 11, was told he might never grow tall enough to play professional football. But what he lacked in height he more than made up for in talent, determination, and an almost supernatural connection to the ball. At just 13 years old, Messi left his family and his homeland to join Barcelona's famed La Masia Academy. It was a gamble that would change the history of football forever. Chapter 2, The Barcelona Dynasty, 2004 to 2021. Messi made his first team debut for Barcelona at just 17 years old. On May 1, 2005, he scored his first senior goal for the club, becoming the youngest scorer in Barcelona's history at 17 years, 10 months and 7 days old. It was the beginning of a legendary 17-year career that would see him score 672 goals in 778 appearances for the Catalan club. At Barcelona, Messi won 10 La Liga titles, 7 Copa del Rey trophies, 8 Spanish Super Cups, 4 UEFA Champions League crowns, 3 UEFA Super Cups, and 3 FIFA Club World Cups. He also played a key role in Barcelona's historic treble-winning campaigns under Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique. In total, he won an astonishing 34 trophies with Barcelona alone. Chapter 3, The Paris Years, 2021 to 2023. After leaving Barcelona in 2021, Messi joined Paris Saint-Germain. His time in the French capital was brief but successful, adding 2 Ligue 1 titles and 1 Trophy de Champions to his collection. Chapter 4, Conquering America 2023, present. In June 2023, Messi made the stunning move to Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. The impact was immediate and transformative. Within weeks of his debut he led the club to their first piece of silverware, the 2023 Leagues Cup. In 2024 he guided Inter Miami to the Supporters' Shield by breaking the MLS points record with 74 points. Then in 2025 he led the Herons to their first ever MLS Cup victory, providing 2 assists in the final. He was named MLS Cup MVP for his performance. In total he has won 4 trophies with Inter Miami, the Supporters' Shield, Leagues Cup, Eastern Conference title and MLS Cup. Chapter 5, The International Glory. For many years, Messi's international career was defined by heartbreaking near misses. He lost 3 Copa America finals and a World Cup final. But then everything changed. In 2021, Messi finally broke his senior international trophy drought by winning the Copa America at his 4th attempt. In 2022 he achieved his childhood dream, lifting the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. He was awarded the World Cup Golden Ball for his performances. In 2024 he defended the Copa America title, winning his 2nd Copa America. Before these senior triumphs, Messi had also won the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in 2005 and an Olympic gold medal at the Beijing 2008 Olympics. Today Messi holds the record for the most goals in World Cup history. Chapter 6, The Individual Honors. No player in history has collected individual awards like Lionel Messi. He has won 8 Ballon d'Or awards, the most in football history, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2019, 2021, 2023, 8 FIFA World Player of the Year / the Best FIFA Men's Player Awards, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2019, 2022, 2023, 6 European Golden Shoes, the most of any player, 2 World Cup Golden Ball Awards, 2014, 2022, 2 Laureus World Sportsman of the Year Awards. He holds the record for the most goals in La Liga history, 474 goals, and the most assists in La Liga, 192 assists. He also holds the Guinness World Record for the most official goals in a calendar year, 91 goals in 2012. He is the player with the most official recorded assists in football history. In total he has scored over 900 career goals. Chapter 7, The Most Decorated Player in History. Lionel Messi is the most decorated footballer in the history of the sport. He has won 47 trophies in his career, more than 2 trophies per season over his 21-year senior career. His trophy cabinet includes 16 different competitions, a testament to his remarkable versatility and longevity at the highest level of the sport. Epilogue, The Legacy. Messi's achievements are not just numbers. They represent the story of a boy who refused to give up, who overcame illness and rejection, who left his home at 13 to chase a dream, and who became the greatest player the world has ever seen. He has won everything there is to win: the World Cup, the Copa America, the Champions League, league titles in 3 different countries, and a record 8 Ballon d'Or awards. But perhaps his greatest achievement is the joy he has brought to billions of fans around the world. As he once said, "I trained day and night, 17 years and 114 days, to become an overnight success." Lionel Messi's story is proof that with talent, hard work, and an unshakable belief in yourself, anything is possible.